got it, you just don't know you got it all inside of you. It's inside, you got it, let me help you to spot it. You've got it all inside of you. This world can be a prison, a play yard. Peace of mind's inside and ain't far above the clouds, so prepare to take off as we come together off the radar, far away from everything. Let's release the stress and strain. No need for the baggage, babe, cause we came here to hit that pain. Before the ways of the worldly blind you, allow me to take this time to remind you, in the same place that your hurt resides, you can find heaven and healing right inside you. And if you need help, let me guide you past the lies that you're aligned to, till you're redesigned to find truth in the beauty I see inside you. This world can be your prison, a play yard. Peace of mind's inside and ain't far above the clouds, so prepare to take off as we come together off the radar, far away from everything. Let's release the stress and stress. No need for the baggage, babe, cause we came here to heal that pain.
Lighthouse, guiding the righteous is all that I'm about, and now I'll be doing it till my light's out and my time's out. I'm only passing on lessons that I received from those steering me in the right route. They always said I was fly, but that I had to believe in my wings and touch the sky. Have the guts to try, possess a lust for life, required for me to do more than just get by. And now I see you in the distance, amongst the misfits and the mist that clouds your vision of all the gifts that God gave you when He made you, along with the stars, moons, the planets, and sun rays that raised you. So through the fog of all mediocrity, I'm shining this little light for all to see.
Mic check, mic check.
Your own fresh, but if you have trouble,
this world can be a prison, a play yard. Peace of mind's inside and ain't far above the clouds, so prepare to take off as we come together off the radar, far away from everything. Let's release the stress and strain. No need for the baggage, babe, cause we came here to heal that pain. This world can be your prison, a play yard. Peace of mind's inside and ain't far above the clouds, so prepare to take off as we come together off the radar, far away from everything. Let's release the stress and strain. No need for the baggage, babe, cause we came here to heal that pain.
Got a few minutes before we get started. Do me a favor and share this. Let's see, where's my live?
I want to talk to you today from the subject, how to be crazy enough to get what you want. What you have to do is lose your no I can mind and find your yes I can mind. So you see, you've got to lose one of these minds. And which one of these minds is it that you have to lose to get what you want? The no I can't mind.
staring at your greatness, feeling ill-prepared, just a little crazy, just a little scared, leaning on the logic, keeping you from your cares, just a little crazy, just a little scared, that normalcy that nags you to stay and never dare to move beyond.
Come on down, come on down.
Your friends and your folks were raised and played there, so it's all they ever known and all they have to share. Few to try to push you, many to keep you there, just a little crazy.
Hope everybody's doing well. What up, IG? We're gonna get started in just a couple minutes.
Just a little scared.
If you want to follow along with the screen shares, you can go to the YouTube channel.
The sickness that secures you,
All right.
fears are all shared. We're very few, crazy, and many are just scared. The status quo's tragic, but lingers in the air, blocking the blessings that await you upstairs. There's only one way that you can go from here. Just a little crazy, just a little scared. To the promise us breeds if you can bear to give chase. It awaits all who dare to run it down and grab it, regardless of the fears. Blessing those crazy enough to do it scared. So I'll fight on until I right all wrongs, from the daytime until the night lights on. I'ma take flight, cause it's the right time for me to write and enlighten the minds I've spawned. To show up, grow up, and glow up, rearrange reality and sicken my enemies till they throw up. Trapped in their own minds while I glow up. Putting it down for minds till I go up above past failures, ignoring all fears, cause that false evidence ain't as real as it appears. When you drown out doubt and blood, sweat, and tears, and focus on your goal, the way will be made clear. So visualize all the victories that you wanna see, and what your mind projects is what you're gonna see. On the screen displaying your lifetime, you'll find that it projects what originates in the mind.
This used to be a movie house. Way back up there somewhere is a projector. They never took the projector out. Up here is a big screen that we've used 2 or 3 times. What you see
We're going to be talking about something rather important, definitely important to sobriety and to your life in general. All right, I'm trying to get myself centered here. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and get us rolling. It's 5 o'clock. Let's get this thing going. Let's see here. All right. Welcome, everybody. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody's having a good day. Shout out to all my people on Facebook. Shout out to everybody that's visiting through the YouTube channel. And shout out to my folks out there on IG. My name is Hanif Satterfield. This is Sobriety in Black Live. For those that don't know, I am 11 years sober, retired alcoholic, now recovery coach, and I've written a book, Sobriety in Black, Confessions of a Retired Alcoholic, which tells my story of my, dealing with my addiction, how I went on to overcome it and how I overcome it every day. So the first part of the book is about the history of alcoholism, my alcoholism, the relationship between African Americans and alcohol, humans in general. And then the second half of the book is more prescriptive. It's a manual. It kind of gives you some information with regards to the process I went through in order to attain and what I continuously do to sustain my sobriety. And so here on SIB Live, I just pick usually a topic. I read a lot of books, get a lot of information, especially in my practice, and just as somebody who's, taking it one day at a time, getting information that helps me become a stronger person, be able to maintain and sustain my sobriety, and then I bring those things here to you. So today is no different. Today we'll be talking about a topic and some information and exercises that I think that's going to help you. And these are things that I'm doing for myself that I just pass on to you. All right. So like I was saying, you can join me on any platform. Right now I'm broadcasting on Facebook, IG, and on YouTube. I do screen shares during my broadcast, so if you want to see those screen shares, you can go over to the YouTube channel and check those out. And if not, if you want to stay on IG, for instance, and just want to listen, you can do that as well too, because I will be speaking about the topics as well, so you won't have a problem following along. All right. And any of the information links that I share will be on my link tree, which is in the bio for IG. So if you're interested in seeing what I'm maybe referring to, you can definitely go there. And today will be special because there are a few links that I'm going to be offering out that I do have in the description on the YouTube channel, but you can go to the my link tree and check those out, check them out there as well. All right. So today's topic is self-awareness. All right. The full topic is self-awareness, shining a light on the blind spots. So we're going to first talk about, because me being a professor, I am a communications professor, I like to make sure that we're all on the same page with regards to the meaning of words and the concepts. Once I know that I've established the meaning, then from that lens, we'll take on the rest of the discussion. And definitely feel free to leave comments and I'll try to read them. I've been trying to get better at that, read them and address them as I go along. But you can always leave a comment or DM me if you have anything personal you'd like to talk to me about. I do offer consultations, and you can definitely DM me about those as well. All right. So today, like I said, and the title says here, self-awareness, shining a light on blind spots. One of the things one of the major things, of course, when you're dealing with sobriety, and you guys know, for those who've been following me know that I always say this, you got to start with the truth, right? And the truth, especially if you've lived a life in addiction or an alcoholism, narcotics addiction, or any kind of addiction, really, for any type of substance, there's going to be some truths that are going to be harder to face than others. The first one that you have to face in order to even get on the road to sobriety is being honest with yourself and the fact that you have a problem, right? That whatever it is you're addicted to has become a problem in your life, and you know you need to change something. So a lot of times that can be the hardest step. It's also the most crucial, most important step, right? That's one that you can see. That's one that you recognize, you acknowledge, and you know, right? But as the title implies here, it says shining a light on the blind spots. We're going to not only talk about self-awareness, but we're going to talk about what blind spots are, what you can do in an exercise you can go through that I'm actually currently going through right now to help identify them so that you can begin to work on them. All right. Let me change my headphones. There we go. A little easier for me. All right. So first, and I like to refer to, like I said, I do a lot of reading. I read the Bible, the Quran, a lot of different books. And in Mathew chapter 7, verse 3, there is that is a verse, real quick sentence where Jesus is asking a question that really kind of helps put us in perspective for why this show is here today, why we're talking about this, and why understanding your self-awareness is important. And what that verse says, Mathew 7:3, it says, Jesus asks, "Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye?" Now, if we look at this verse, there are two things that are interesting about this. One, Jesus is asking this question, right? So asking the question automatically acknowledges that there is an issue, right? There's definitely a problem. And all of us are guilty of this. We've been on the receiving end of criticism for people who don't look at themselves. We've also been critics of other people, right? And have placed judgments on other people when we haven't looked at ourselves. And what Jesus says here in Matthew 7 is, why do you do that? And then he says, if you notice, he says, you look at the speck of sawdust, and if you think about sawdust, a speck of sawdust is almost, impossible to see with the human eye, right? But we'll focus. We have no problem focusing on the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye, which is sawdust being an imperfection or a problem, right? We'll with a microscope, analyze other people and their issues, right? He says, and pay no attention. So he's saying, and he doesn't say but, he says and. So he says, look, at the same time that you're criticizing this other person, you're not paying any attention to the plank. Now, a plank, you think of walk the plank, big old piece of wood, big old problem when compared to sawdust. So you look at another person's small issues or inconsistencies or problems, but you don't look at these big old problems that you have, that you possess in yourself, right? And so it's important. So what he's basically saying is your priorities are all messed up. You're out here criticizing and looking at everybody else, but you need to be cleaning up your own house. And we talk about this a lot, right? And so from that lens, we have to realize that self-awareness, being just aware in general, is definitely important, because that's what sobriety does. It makes you aware of everything around you, right? But in order to move from sobriety to recovery, you have to become self-aware, right? Because you have to, like they say, put the life vest on yourself, right? So you have to understand yourself, learn more about yourself, focus on the plank that you're holding instead of looking at everybody else's problems, focusing on everybody else's problems. You're not going to be sober critiquing everybody else's, looking at other alcoholics and saying, hey, you have an issue, you have an issue. You have to look at yourself, okay? And so it is from that lens that we got to look at why self-awareness is important. What are some of the characteristics of a self-aware person? Because it may sound like a very simple, when you think self-aware, oh, okay, that means somebody who knows themselves. Well, yeah, you can say that, but there's a lot more to that meaning that a lot of times we don't really look at and we don't understand that we've got to focus on, right? So first, let's define self-awareness. Okay, let me take this ticker off so we can get a little focus here. All right. Self-awareness, the definition of self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand one's own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, as well as their effects on oneself and others, right? So when we first start looking at our sobriety and we start recognizing, that we have a problem, so in my case, it would be with alcohol, I don't only look at and may recognize the problem that drinking, over drinking and substance abuse has on myself, but I also look at how it affects other people. So self-awareness isn't just about, well, how does it affect me? How do I, in my addiction or in my alcoholism, affect other people? How do I damage my relationship with them? How do I hurt them? They may not even have a problem with alcohol, but how does my problem become their problem? What is it that I do, right? So that's the full gamut of self-awareness. It's not just how things affect you and understanding how your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors affect you, but also how it affects others. And a lot of times we can be very self-focused, but we also have to take into account how these things affect others. Because in sustaining our sobriety, it's going to help us go, hey, look, like for me, I have 3 children. Now, yes, of course, I had to do, sobriety for myself first, but I was also cognizant of the fact that if I get better, I quit my alcohol addiction, it's going to benefit my children. And if I don't, it's going to damage and hurt them, right, by extension. So that's one of the things that helps me hold on to my sobriety and seek recovery, taking it beyond just not drinking, but also addressing the issues that I have, and we're going to talk about that brought me to drink, right? And that a lot of times that's the hard part. Once you stop mechanically taking the cup to your mouth, then it's okay addressing the things that took you there, right? And that's the full about version of self-awareness. Now, there are some things that a self-aware person does. There are 3 main things that a fully self-aware person exhibits or does that we want to take into consideration. Okay, so the first thing is a self-aware person can recognize their own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. They can identify them. If you say, hey, why did you do this? Or, how would you react in this situation? We can identify it. I ask students in my class, give me 3, positive things about yourself. Let me know how you're feeling. If they can describe those feelings, then they're a lot more self-aware than somebody who's just confused. I don't know how I feel. I think I'm like this. I think I'm like that versus somebody who's saying, I'm upset. I'm upset for this reason. That's somebody that's a little more self-aware than somebody who's just confused. Now, one thing I tell my students, and this is true for all human beings, at the center of anger, a lot of times is confusion. Not knowing what to do, not knowing why something happened to you, not knowing how to respond. A lot of times when you're angry, look at what you're confused about and address that. And a self-aware person is a lot less confused about things than somebody who's not self-aware. So a self-aware person is less prone to anger, less prone to losing control. So just being able to describe your feelings, describe your thoughts, recognize your behaviors, right? Like when you go from, man, I can drink whenever I want to, you know what? I drink way too much. That little bit of self-awareness takes you a long way. And anybody who's dealt with, addiction knows that, right? So that's the first one. A self-aware person can recognize their own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Second, this is kind of like almost in levels. A self-aware person can identify and understand their own strengths and weaknesses. their own strengths and weaknesses. First, they got to understand that they have both. You have some people who are delusional. They think they can do nothing wrong, or they like to believe that, right? So they never address any other their weaknesses or their problems because they don't think they exist. And as long as you're doing that, you're not really self-aware. Everybody has positives, negatives, good things, yin, yang, positive attributes they can work on, right? Deficiencies, voids. You can always build, because none of us are perfect. And the better you can understand those things, the strengths and the weaknesses, the more self-aware you are, right? And then the third one, and this is what we would take, it almost kind of does go in levels. First, you're aware of your thoughts, your behaviors, and your feelings. Then it's being aware of your strengths and your weaknesses. And then on this level, this third one is a self-aware person understands that they may possess characteristics that are unknown to themselves. Those are what we call blind spots, okay? They're unknown to themselves, yet they can be uncovered by feedback from others. This is a big one. This is an area, a lot of times you can go become sober and you can live your life without ever getting to this level, where you understand that there are blind spots, right? And I'm going to read this again. A self-aware person is one that understands that they may possess characteristics that are unknown to themselves, yet can be uncovered by feedback from others, through feedback from others. This is where, in my book, it's Sobriety in Black. And a lot of people don't know this. If you tune in here, you know it by now. This is the secret, because a lot of people think it's just about being black. But each letter in the word black is a stage. First, the B is begin. You have to begin for sobriety. You have to begin to stop drinking. You have to begin to stop. That's the first thing you got to do. Then you learn, right? So when we talk, what do you learn about? You becoming self-aware. Why do I drink? How can I stop it? What are the situational influences that lead me to drink? You become self-aware. A, you act. You start you learn things, and the things that you learn, you put them into action. And then C, which is part of what helps you in this third level of self-awareness, you connect. You connect. How do you get feedback about the blind spots, characteristics you may display that you don't know exist? You don't recognize it. You may not see them as a problem. You may not see them as a virtue. But people let you know, hey, you're pretty talented in this area. Or, I recognize this. You may say, oh, really? I didn't know that. Have you ever met somebody who didn't know they could sing until they sung in front of you, and then you let them know, like, hey, you sound pretty good? Or you got to think, now those blind spots, those are the pleasant ones, right? When somebody tells you got a talent, or, you have an aesthetic, or there's something about you that's good that you didn't even, maybe you either devalued it or didn't recognize it. But then people start big upping you about it and giving you love about it. You're like, hey, now it's no longer a blind spot, right? Those are pleasant. It's the other side of that. It's that other side, right? That's the part, that's where the money is. That's where the growth is, but that's the place we don't really like to go. When people tell us about an issue that, we may not have even known, characteristic, a blind spot, it's a negative. Okay? That's what we're going to talk about. Now, I'm going to see if I can play this video. Jordan Peterson, let's see if I can, give me 1 second here. Jordan Peterson was asked about self-awareness, and in one question, he had is a fantastic exercise that I actually recommend for people now to do, and I'm actually doing for myself. Oh, now, of course, I got to find it here, and it's always, I'm trying to get better. This is one of the things I still recognize I'm working on, guys, and that's getting all this, getting my stuff in order. All right, well, I'm not going to worry about playing the video. I'm just going to go straight to it. So Jordan Peterson, he said, in order to, okay, now I got to find my screen. Give me 1 second. In order to become very self-aware, there is something, and beneficially self-aware, there's an exercise that you can do that can automatically get you on the right track. It's going to take being honest. The good thing is you can do this by yourself without anybody else being involved. So this is stage one. And he said, you want to ask yourself this question almost as if you're praying. And he said, this is kind of like a prayer. It's that serious and you should take it serious. He said, you should ask yourself this question. What is one thing that I'm doing wrong that I know is wrong that I could fix and that I would fix? Okay? So what you want to ask yourself, and this is something you can think about now when you get out, write this down, type it down, and think about it. What is one thing you're doing wrong that you know is wrong that you could fix? You have the ability to fix it, and you would fix it. And one thing he said in the video, it's only like 44 seconds long. He said, ask yourself that question in quiet contemplation, like you're asking God. He said, you're not going to like the answer, okay? You're not going to, chances are, because this is something you got to fix. This is almost a self-criticism, right? And the thing is, the beauty of this is if you're asking by yourself, really, whether you like it or not, the answer is going to come to you. Because it's not like you got to say it out of your mouth. This is kind of the beauty of it, is that the answer is going to come to you. Now, whether you accept the answer is going to be a point of maturity and how bad you want to change. Because you're going to get an answer. I've asked myself, trust me, I've gotten a couple of answers that I'm going to keep to myself about a couple things. Okay, some answers are easier to take than others. But ask yourself, what's one thing that I'm doing wrong in my life that I know is wrong, that I could fix and I would fix? Let's say, for instance, one I know that I can share that a while ago I was bad at, but now I'm a lot better at, is being punctual. I used to always be late. It was almost to the point where because I was allowed to always be late, I'd be late. It was like life enabled me. And so I was never on time to anything. You may be a couple of minutes. I wasn't somebody who was like 8 hours late. But definitely when I drank, I was a lot more late. But even after in my sobriety, it was something that I had to work on in my recovery, right? So I could not be on time and still get sober. I stopped drinking, but I'd still show up late, right? And then after quiet contemplation, I said, man, you know what? It's like, Hanif, it was like God was telling me, like, Hanif, you're not a punctual person, and really it's disrespectful to the other people. You think that because they allow you to do it, nobody says anything, that it's cool. But let's be honest. You and I both know, it's like God talking to me. You and I both know good and well that this is not a good trait to have. You're trying to become more financially, you're trying to enrich yourself financially. You're trying to increase the amount of respect that people have for you and for yourself. Start being on time. Don't let, as a black man, you hear about black people always being late. Don't do that. Don't live up to that stereotype. Not just for other people, but for yourself. You know that it's a deficiency. And that was one that I kind of used to stray away from, but then I started taking accountability for it. And now it's to the point where I brag about being punctual. Like, oh no, I'm going to be on time. Don't even trip. I get there before you. You know what I'm saying? And I almost do it to kind of put myself out there like, okay, well now I got to be on time. But that was one, I can say one of the first times that it was kind of a blind spot. And I'm going to talk about the Johari Window. So stick around because I'm going to talk about a window, and it talks about degrees. I can't really lie and say it was a blind spot because I always kind of knew it, but it was one of those things that I just didn't fix, right? But I got to a point where I said, all right, I got to be more punctual. I'm growing up. I'm grown. I got kids depending on me. I got friends depending on me. I got work. And then I just got my self-respect. The way my self-respect is built, and the people I looked up to, the people I started studying, the millionaires, the billionaires, the people who had better relationships with their friends. One thing I noticed is that they respected their time and they respected other people's time. And then there were times where people were coming late to things I needed them for. And there was one thing in particular, I was late to a friend's wedding rehearsal, and the disappointment I saw on his face was a disappointment I had never seen before. And it always stands out to me. He doesn't even know that how much it stood out to me. But I never forgot it. And at this time, I was still drinking. It was years before I stopped drinking, but even then, I never forgot it. And when I sat down and asked this question in calm contemplation, it came to me and I decided to work on it. So there are certain things that you want to think about, okay? So what is one thing that you're doing wrong, you know it's wrong, you have the ability to fix it, and you would fix it? And then just put together a plan to do it. You know what I'm saying? You can start by asking yourself a few questions. Here are a few questions you can ask yourself. Hold on. Okay, why do you need to fix it? Why did I need to become more punctual? Why? Because it's a sign of respect for the people that I'm showing up for. It's a sign of respect for myself. It's a great time management tool. I came up with a list of why I needed to do it, right? Then what could you do to start fixing it? One thing I do, all of my watches I set 5 minutes fast, off top. You look at any watch in my house, set 5 minutes fast. 5 minutes faster. So it just kind of gives me a buffer. Now, of course, yes, I know it's 5 minutes faster, but it's just a natural thing that I do now. All right. So certain things. Also, put myself out there like, oh, I'm going to be on time. Trust and believe. You ain't got to worry about me. I'll be there. Y'all, so I'll be outside. I always say this. I'll be outside when you get here. You know what I'm saying? I'll be outside when you get here. And then who might be able to help you fix it? Do you need to connect with people, an accountability partner? All right, because, hey, being honest about that, I can't do this on my own. There's nothing wrong. That's one of the most mature things you could ever say. One of the most manly, womanly things you can say is, I can't do this on my own. I need help. All right. Oh, let me see. There's a comment here. Next step is taking action. Exactly. Exactly, Bert. Self-awareness is important. The next step is taking action. All right. So those are 3 questions you can do to kind of get you rolling. Why do you need to fix it? Because when you get in calm contemplation and ask that question, I call it the Jordan question, the self-awareness, Jordan Peterson question. What is one thing you're doing wrong that you know is wrong that you could fix and that you would fix? Then you can go deeper by saying, why do you need to fix it? When it comes to you, especially if it comes to you and you don't want to hear it, just start asking you a question. Well, why did it come to my mind? Why do I need to fix it? What can I do to start fixing it today? You know what I'm saying? And who might I connect with that might be able to help me fix it? Might be a therapist, might be a friend, an accountability partner. Okay, so those are some of the things you can ask yourself. Now, one thing that I did, and as a matter of fact, Bert's on here, he can attest to it because I sent the link to him as being my brother and a good friend. All right, is this exercise that I'm putting myself through. I'm doing this as a recovery coach, and it's something that I'm gonna offer for other people too, because I think it's something I read about recently that I was like, this is nice. And it's called the Johari Window. And if you're on IG, you can listen, but definitely you can just Google the Johari Window. It is spelled Johari Window. All right. And this is a means, it's a quadrant, a 4-quadrant type deal that categorizes your character traits based off of 2 axes. All right. And hold on. I got to pull this up so I can kind of explain. All right. So where we at here? Hold on. I'm going to try because I got to share this for my folks. Give me 1 second as I do this, get this screen share here going on for my people that are on YouTube. This might be a time where, honestly, if you're on IG, you may want to go on YouTube so that you can see some of this stuff, but I will explain it. Like I said, if you're hardcore IG head, that's all right too. I will explain it. Just give me 1 second. I got to do this screen share for my folks. All right. The Johari Window. And what you can do while you're on, IG is just Google Johari Window and then go to images, because I'm going to just basically, and the image itself will show you the quadrants that I'm about to speak on here. All right. The Johari Window. And this is tight. This is a really tight. Like I really kind of like how this works. All right, give me 1 sec here. Like I said, guys, as far as my self-awareness, I know that I still have some preparation stuff I need to work on with it, guys. All this. All right, so okay, let me go ahead and do the screen share for all my folks on Facebook, IG, and whatnot. Let me get this going here. All right, let's try. Which one is it? Ah, here we go. Okay, cool. Share it up. All right, perfect. Okay, so this is the Johari window. So what the Johari window is it's a 4-quadrant. I want to say, I know I'm saying thing, but hold on. That categorizes your characteristics based on what you know and what other people know about you. Okay, so I'm just going to read. It says the Johari window is a technique designed to help people better understand their relationship with themselves and others. Okay, it was created by a couple of psychologists, Joseph Lust and Harrington Ingram. That's where the Johari comes from. Joe for Joseph, Hari for Harrington. All right, and it's used in self-help groups, corporate settings. It just helps you really kind of understand and categorize, you know, your relationship with yourself, certain characteristics that you recognize, others recognize. All right, and the four parts of the quadrant are the open characteristics. Now, the open characteristics are characteristics that are known to yourself and known to others. So for me, I may say that I'm an energetic person. If my friends say, if I ask the friend, you know, I may say, hey, Bert, you know, give me 5 things about me that, you know, 5 words that come to mind when you think about me. And the first thing he says is, well, you're a very energetic person. Well, then that would be an open characteristic. That's one that we both agree. I recognize it and he recognizes it. It's known to myself and it's known to other people. Then you have the hidden characteristics. These are known to me, known to yourself, but they're not known to others. So for instance, if I say I'm an introvert and I say, you know, really I'm an introvert, I'm an introverted person, but I talk to 5 of my friends and I say, man, give me 5 words to describe me, and none of them say introvert, like they don't even get close, then that's a characteristic, that's a hidden characteristic. It's hidden from everybody else, but it's something I know about myself. And we all have those. Certain, you know, they say there's a darkness, or there's something, it may be something bad or good, right? And these characteristics is not bad, good, or otherwise. All right, but these are characteristics, they're hidden. They're known to myself, but they're not known to others. Then you have unknown characteristics. These are characteristics that's not known by either one. The friends don't recognize it, you don't recognize it. And then there are the blind characteristics. These are the blind spots. They're not known to you, but they're known to others. They're recognized by other people. If you ask other people, it would be the characteristic that if you ask 5 people, give me 5 things about myself, and all 5 of them say something and you're like, really? I don't think that. Yeah, that's a blind spot. And those are the ones that I'm talking about when it comes to self-awareness. The blind spots. Because those are the ones that you don't recognize, but everybody else does. Well, maybe not everybody else, but the general public, they see it. And like we say, even in alcoholism and addiction, you can't fix a problem you don't know exists. Right? Now, this can, like I said, it's not just a problem, it can be a talent. People may say, hey, you got great toes, and you didn't know you had great toes. You could be a toe model. You had no clue. But if you ask a lot of people, they go, hey, well, you know, what are some of the most beautiful things about me? Oh, man, I really, you know, I love your toes. Really? I never thought, you know, I thought my face was good. Okay, you know, I got muscles. My toes, for real? Yeah. That's a blind spot. Okay? But like I said, the good ones, okay, great. Pleasant surprise. But when we're talking about recovery, when we're talking about repairing ourselves, right, we want to look at, oh, leaving from work. Okay, LaDon. LaDon did it for real. I ain't mad at you. All right, good stuff. Well, I'm glad you're listening. But definitely in the Johari window, that's the sector, like I always tell my students, you know, the parts that you want to clean up that you may not accept or you don't know about, that's where the money's at. So the money's at the blind spots. And it's self-awareness, self-mastery, growth. Those are the ones that you want to find. Now, the thing is, if they're blind spots, you don't know they exist. That's the reason why you got to get feedback from others. That's where connecting, like I said in black, begin, learn, action, act, connect, and the K is keep going, right? Connecting with others. Now, this is one of those areas, right, that may be a little hard to deal with, okay? Be a little hard to deal with those areas, those blind spots, because you may not be, you know, you might, like they say, you know, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my stuff. If you're sensitive, this is going to be hard to deal with, but you got to grow, all right? Now, the great thing is there is a tool. I'm actually using it. And there are people on this live now that know, because I sent this link out to a couple of people, where the Johari Window, people can anonymously tell you about yourself. All right. And so I'm about to send you to these links. If you go to my link tree, if you're on IG, you can go link in the bio. You're going to see where it says the Johari Window and the Johari Window. They're two separate things, but they serve the same function with two sets, right? So the Johari Window, so let me go ahead and share that. Give me 1 second. And if you're on YouTube, you go in the comment section, there'll be a link to it, but I'm about to share the Johari Window exercise. And this is a free site I found where you can find out these things, and people, because, you know, a lot of people may be scared to tell you about yourself, especially if it's something that's not too pleasant, right? So the good thing about this is they can anonymously submit information, right? But only the people you send the link to can anonymously submit information about you. So you'll know the group that you send it to, but you won't know who told you what, unless they identify themselves, right? So with this first one, the Johari Window, okay, let me go ahead and share this now. I'm gonna go through it. And this is a fantastic, like, I have fallen in love with this, let's see, and I suggest everybody do it. And I'm in the like, I literally sent this out last night. Okay, so it's actually kevon.org/Johari. Maybe I'll put it in the comments. Let me do that real quick. I'm gonna put it in the comments for anybody that may have a problem finding it. Hold on, for my folks on Facebook or wherever. Here we go, paste. All right, so in the comments, I just submitted the link to the Johari Window. So the good thing, and this is how it works, guys, okay, and I'm going to read it. So it says, you know, the Johari Window was invented by Joseph Lust and Harrington Ingram as a model for mapping personality awareness. So this is, you know, for personality awareness by describing yourself from a fixed list of adjectives. So for those that are looking here, you notice there's a bunch of adjectives here. It's just a table. Able, accepting, adaptable, bold, mature, loving, a bunch of little words. So how it starts is you yourself pick five words out of there, and you can only pick 5 out of this. It looks like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Oh, well, what did he say? 55 words? Yeah. 55. There are 55 choices. You pick 5, your top 5 that describe you. So you do that first. Then you save it under your name. It's going to spit out a link. You send that link to, and this is the key. You don't post this on Facebook and have everybody submitting, because people who hate you can submit stuff. People who don't know you. You want to send this to people whose opinion you respect. Okay, now the Johari Window, these are positive characteristics. If you notice, I said able, friendly, independent, knowledgeable. This is going to be the one that everybody has no problem submitting, because they're all complimentary, for lack of a better term, all right? But it's going to let you know which things stand out. So what happens is you submit your 5, then you send that link out to people that are close to you. You know, family members, people who you respect, your best friend. I would limit it. All right. And then they'll get it. And without knowing which 5 you picked, they pick 5. And then what happens is when you get the results, it puts up the Johari Window. So remember I showed you the 4 quadrants, and based off, like, say, like I know, say I said that one of my 5 was confident, and my friend picked confident. Well, that's going to go in the known section because it's known to, it's or the open personality. It was known by me. It was recognized by another person. You see that? Now, there may be one that maybe I didn't pick adaptable, but 3 out of 4 people put adaptable as their 5. That would be considered a blind spot because it's one that I didn't recognize, but the majority out of the number of people, the majority all picked that one as well. Okay? Hey, greetings to my brother Elijah Farrakhan. Hey, man, much love, my brother. It's an honor to have you here, man. And my man, Ken, 12 Faces of Sober, the pretty producer. Glad to see you here. Let me just read off a couple people. Proctor 25. All right, shout out to you. If I missed anybody else, my apologies. As far as Facebook, a lot of times it doesn't come up with the names, but I see Bert here. LaDon did it for real here. Shout out to y'all. So, the good thing about this Johari thing is you pick 5 characteristics, then you send it out to other people, they pick 5, and then you'll know, you can start seeing, much love to you, my brother. We got to get that interview together, man. We definitely got to build, man. And shout out to the NOI, straight up. Much love to them. The NOI, the FOI, all of that. And the Honorable, of course, Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so, you know, it's just a great way to see, you know, characteristics. You may learn some stuff about yourself. This one will be the positive one. Like, it was funny when I sent this one out, no problem. Now we're going to get into that other window. All right. We're going to get into that other window. Hey, shout out to my man Ken. Get his book, 12 Faces of Sober. Good brother. Another fellow sober soldier. You know what I'm saying? All right. So that's the Johari window. And then what happens is after you put the name in there, you're going to submit it. It's going to give you a link. It's going to give you 2 links. It's going to give you a link that you send to other people that you want to fill out their 5. And then they can put their name, but they can also put anonymous. So if they don't want you to know that it was them that picked a certain thing, they can just put anonymous. And that's what's kind of good. And make sure you let your folks know, especially when you send them this next window, the Johari window. Okay, because the Johari one, it's more complimentary, but it's good to know, you know, about some of these personality traits. Now, the next one, all right, this is the one to me, it may be harder to do. Even before I sent the link, I sent the first one out, then sending out the second link, it was like, all right, because now it's the critical side, right? All right, and that's the Johari window. And I'm going to send the link to that. I'm going to put that in the chat. Hold on. Let me go ahead and come. But this, to me, is the most important one. Okay? This is the most important one. And this is the one, and I'll read this. The Johari window is a challenging inversion of the Johari window, using antonyms of the original words by describing your failings from a fixed list of adjectives. That's what you would do first. So you're going to pick 5. All right. And then asking your friends and colleagues to describe you from the same list. So now they've got to pick 5 flaws, for lack of a better term, personality flaws. From doing this, you'll get a grid of perceived and unrecognized weaknesses that can be explored. So once you're brave enough to do this and you get the responses, so some of the words here they've got: incompetent, intolerant, inflexible, chaotic, distant, childish, foolish, humorless, loud, needy, ignorant, blasé, withdrawn, cynical, cruel. So these are all words that are not glowing at all. You will pick 5. So those will be things you recognize, personality flaws that you recognize you have. You send this link out. There, your friends, colleagues, whoever you send this link to, they're going to be able to pick 5. And then based off of that information, these flaws get put into the Johari window. The ones that are open, recognized by both of you. Like, for instance, and I can share this because a friend of mine sent me his, and one of the ones he said that I picked is loud. I'm a pretty loud person. Whether it's when I'm angry, I'm loud. When I get passionate, I get loud, right? And that is a flaw, because there's times where I need to tone it down. And a friend of mine picked loud as well. That one was an open flaw, a flaw that we both picked, that I recognized and that he recognized, right? So, and then there are other ones that I'm going to keep for myself right now because I'm just not there yet, that I ain't sharing for everybody, all right? And I'm still waiting for some responses to get, an idea of the real money. Because the real money is the blind spots out of the Johari window. What are some of the negative personality flaws that I have that I don't recognize? And so this one can be tough. That's why it says it's a challenging inverse of the Johari window. But I think it's genius because this is a good, safe way. And when you send this link out, and then there's another link that comes with it, and you'll see once you submit yours, that is for the responses that'll put out the window, and it'll put everything in its proper perspective. And then from that readout, you can start trying to see what are some of the things you can work on. And the good thing about this is it's a way to automatically increase your self-awareness. Automatically. If you don't do anything else. You know what I'm saying? One of the things it did for me, I felt good about being brave enough because it was funny. Like I said, I sent out the first link for the Johari window, which wasn't a problem. And then there was about 15 to 20 minutes kind of lapse between that one and then I sent the other one like, oh yeah, and then there's this one too. And I'm just in full disclosure. It took me a minute. I had to get my, get my nerve and my cojones together to do it. But I did it. And so I sent it out. Waiting for responses to come in. But I also had to make sure I text my friends and family that I sent it to. And I said, hey, look, I'm not looking for compliments. I'm looking for the truth. All right. And that's a sign of self-respect. When you're willing to say, hey, I'm looking for the criticism. I'm looking for the parts that I may not see. That's really what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for you to tell me something I already know or that I'm going to appreciate. I don't need yes men in my life. I need people that are going to give me the real. You know what I'm saying? Because then I can fix it. And then I can become a better person for myself and for these other people. So I definitely would suggest that you guys check this out. This is a great way. And so check out the links on the YouTube, on the video. I put in both of the links. I definitely suggest you send it out. I would not suggest, like I said, especially with the Johari window, if you post it on Facebook or something, right? You can get all kind of people sending you all kind of stuff. And really that information is not useful. What's useful is from people who know you. It's got to be people who know you. Somebody who just, added you last week. You know what I'm saying? Their information is not going to be good because it's not something born over time. It's not empirical knowledge. You need somebody who has a deep understanding of who you are. Somebody who you know is going to shoot straight with you. You know what I'm saying? So that you can really get down to the brass tacks and the work of increasing your self-awareness. So that's basically it, guys. That's all I wanted to kind of come on here and share with you. Like I said, I literally sent this out last night, like 11 to midnight. And I said, you know what? I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to share this with others because I was going to share it. And then I said, you know what? If I don't do this for myself, how am I going to be out here telling folks that they should do this and I'll do it for myself? So your boy had to work up the nerve and did it. And I can say I feel good in the fact that I was brave enough to actually do it. Because, and I'll share this, one of the things that was told to me was insecure. I can be rather insecure sometimes. I can. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I ask people for too much. Well, what do you think? What do you think? When I should just move. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to get better at that. I'm trying to get better at that. So, but now, because I was able to do this, I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing the feedback that I get. And once I break through from being sensitive to criticism, being like really get over myself and being sensitive to feedback, I can conquer the world, y'all. It's a wrap. It's a wrap once I stop being so sensitive. You understand what I'm saying? It's a wrap for all of y'all. Everybody get out my way, all right? Because I'm coming for everything that's mine. You understand what I'm saying? And I hope that this exercise, I hope that this broadcast will inspire you to do the same thing. You guys got the links. Like I said, remind your folks too, especially when sending the Johari window. Hey, when it asks for your name, if you don't want me to know that it was you that told me this, just put anonymous. Or just put none, 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter. You just need the information. All right. That's one thing I would suggest that you add when you send this out to people, because it can be difficult. I mean, it would be difficult for me to give, the words of criticism or telling somebody about flaws, somebody I love and care about. But if you need that information, you know what I'm saying? You need that information, and because that's going to be the information that's going to benefit you the most in the future. All right. So I hope you guys have a good one. I hope that poured into you, man. And if not, it doesn't matter because it's done and I did it. You understand what I'm saying? Like LaDon's name, I did it for real. All right. I want to wish you guys the best as you enjoy the rest of your day. Shout out to everybody who showed up. Much love to all of you guys. And until next time, peace.